All right. So for the third time, I'm going to try this. Yes, I've made this is now the third version of this video because I like to be candid. I like to be completely upfront. And the reason why I have to do this the third time is because I don't like basically how I'm trying to put my point across. So I'm trying again. Um, I'm having troubles balancing personal life and streaming life. The two things that need to coexist and coexist well. Um, and that really stems from just a mismanagement on my part. So what I'm talking about here for me is last week I've been thrown off mentally and emotionally. I was so thrown off that I couldn't really go live. I couldn't make any content. I couldn't get myself in a creative space that would allow me to make the content that I want to be making. And it stems from a lot of my personal relationships and things that are going on, and it's just this constant being knocked off balance. And it just kind of finally hit a point where I just broke down and I just couldn't handle going live. I couldn't handle talking to anybody. I couldn't handle anything. And it kind of came to a head when my wife and I had sat down and we talked, and she told me that she had felt disconnected from me. And it's because anytime she would talk to me, the streaming life was not leaking in, it was taking over. Now, when I'm talking about taking over, I mean like something goes off in my hand where somebody's trying to be like, hey, this, that, the other, I need help with my OBS. I need this, hey, are you available? Are you did it? Just constantly being called on in the content creation world, in the world that I make a living in. It is not my life. And that's where I've been blurring that line. It's what I do for a living. It's not my life. My life is my wife, my kids, my family, my personal relationships. That's life. And I had been mismanaging this since I decided to go full-time content creation, because the thing is, I've been working so hard to make this work. And I might be missing the mark on a lot of different things because I'm not taking into account this is a very slow, painful grind. When you're trying to be a full-time content creator and make this work, it is a very, very slow and painful grind. But it can't happen if you're not mentally well, if you're not emotionally well, if you are not connected to those who support you, those who are giving you the license to do this essentially. And so I'm taking some steps to ensure that I make sure we fix some things. One of the things I'm going to be doing is when my wife gets home from work and the kids are home from school, my phone somewhere else. My ability to be attached to everything is going to be gone. When it comes to the content creation world, I have to have a way to completely shut it down. I can come back to it later. There's no emergency I need to respond to in the streaming world immediately. There really isn't. Even if it's somebody basically accuses me of cheating or lying or, basically trying to tear everything of mine down. If that were to happen, there's nothing I can do in the moment. Speed is not going to be a factor in that. And it's best to plan a response to that anyway than to immediately rush to action. So I have to realize that there is no emergency for me in the content creation world. There is emergencies when it comes to my family, my friendships, the people who matter. So one of the things I'm doing is I'm going to be making sure that when my family comes home, when the day is through and we're down for dinner and things like that, I am completely closed off from work. And that's what content creation is. It's work. It's my job. It's what I've made my job. So moving forward with that, I'm hoping it's going to remedy some things. The other thing is making sure that on the weekends, when I have designated family time, I have said this is my time away from content creation. I'm going to be spending time with my family because they're not at school or work. They're here at home. I can be with them. So I'm making sure that on the weekends, I'm carving out that time. Now, does that mean we're not going to do some streams every now and then on the weekends? We absolutely are. My daughters love to do the streaming thing. My wife enjoys doing date nights on stream. We're still going to do that stuff. But we need to make sure we're carving out the actual time, the time away. So I'm going to be approaching things a little bit differently. And I'm going to be trying to remind myself that, yes, this absolutely is a slow grind. This is not a sprint. You can't sprint your way to things when it comes to content creation, especially if you haven't found what makes you unique in the space. And I'm still working on that. But I'm thankful for my wife for being able to be honest and upfront and open. Something we pride ourselves with our marriage. In 10 years of marriage, this is one thing we know we can do, and we can do it well. Even if it winds up hurting at some point, we know we can make it through. We've been through worse. We could make it through a deployment in a combat zone. We can make it through this. Uh, but it's a struggle because like when you're knocked off balance mentally and then you basically are faced with this realization that maybe you have not been the best you could be. You were trying to be your best, but you were trying to be best in the wrong aspects. It's painful, it hurts, but it's something to learn, it's something to grow with, it's something to understand. And that's what I'm working with, is the fact that my wife has given me the opportunity to understand, to learn, and to grow. And all these things are going to make me better in the long run. It just takes practice, it takes time, it takes effort. And that's what I'm going to be working on. So as much as many ideas and things I want to do and all this stuff that I have in my head, I need to make sure that I'm still placing my family number one. And I know I struggle with that because when I've been given the license to pursue and to do, I've got this license to do what I love to do. It's really hard not to go, I'm going to run away with this. I've got to go with it. It's going to be amazing. This is the thing. This is what I want. And it's I got to put in perspective. I still have a family that I've loved dearly. Can't put all my eggs in in content creation. I can't put all my energy into it. Got to give my energy to my family too. So, I mean, that's kind of where my mental state is, I'm still learning, I'm still changing, I'm still evolving. I'm still understanding my place and how to make this work. I'm not so worried about the money stuff as I used to be. I mean, I still am worried about the money stuff, but that's not the priority now. The priority for me now is understanding where how everything needs to stack up in my life and how do I make sure that I keep the content creation world where it needs to be in my life and not completely intrude into my family time, my time for me and my family and growing my my family's relationships, fostering it, being better. And there's a philosophy I'm going to start adopting and I'm going to start using. I'm going to start integrating it in a lot of different ways. In the show The Good Place, which I absolutely love, in one of the episodes is when Michael the demon has kind of reached the realization of what it means to be a good person, what it means to do better, what it means to conquer all these things. And it's not a matter of being good immediately. You can't do everything immediately. But what you can do is ask yourself, how can I be a little bit better today than I was yesterday? And this is something I'm going to start adopting is how can I be a little bit better today than I was yesterday? How can I even just take a very small step forward and be just a bit better? So this is how I'm going to be a little bit better today than I was yesterday. So I'm going to start putting my phone and my PC in a completely just out of sight, out of mind, so I can focus on my family for a few hours a day at least. And that's how I'm choosing to be a little bit better today than I was yesterday. And then tomorrow, keep trying that, but there's going to be something new that I'm going to have to figure out. How can I be a little bit better today than I was yesterday? Maybe for me, it's actually figuring out how to organize myself a little bit better and then doing this. Um, but that's something I think we all need to think about is how can we be a little bit better today than we were yesterday? So with that, I mean, that's where I'm at, and I'm gonna try and be better. I'm gonna try and keep moving forward, and I'm going to find a way to ensure everything has its place. My streaming, my offline stuff, my family, my friends, everybody needs to have a place, and I'm gonna find a way to balance it all. I'm gonna find a way to make sure this all can work and work in a way that isn't stressful, that it's effortless. That's what I'm striving for. We'll get there eventually. Just takes time.